Welcome to the UK news on September 29th in 2021. And today we start with possible food shortages. After pictures of queues at gas stations, the British government is hoping for a rescue by foreign professionals. As the Ministry of Transport announced in London, up to 5,000 work visas will be made available for truck drivers and 5,500 skilled workers will be attracted to poultry processing. And the goal is Prime Minister Boris Johnson still wants to save Christmas. He said, after a very difficult 18 months, I know how important this Christmas is for all of us. No, it wasn't Johnson, it was Transport Secretary Grant Shapps that said that. On Friday, he refused to bring foreign specialists into the country, though. The situation is dire because truck drivers are absent everywhere. The Industry Association Road Haulage Association names up to 100,000 as a number. Grocery shelves remained empty in supermarkets and many other goods were temporarily not available, from mattresses to certain types of beer. But it wasn't until it became known that energy companies could no longer supply dozens of gas stations that the government intervened. One reason for the blatant bottleneck is the stricter immigration rules since Brexit. EU citizens now need expensive work visas. Representatives from the logistics sector and the food industry welcomed the government plans, although I don't think they work. At the same time, they made it clear that the total of 10,500 skilled workers were not enough. Several industries assume that the Christmas business is on the brink. Not only Christmas trees could become scarce and expensive. The traditional feast is even more at risk. There will be no more turkeys before Christmas, said the head of the Traditional Farm Fresh Turkey Association, Kate Martin. In contrast to Minister Shapps, she's convinced that Brexit is to blame for the delivery problems. Smaller producers did use local labor. For the large providers, however, Brexit is 100% the cause of the labor shortage. But no one will come for 3 months. Seriously, so I don't think that will work. But now let's talk about healthcare. Medical associations in the UK also express concern at the ongoing fuel crisis. Doctors and nurses could not take care of patients because they did not come to work, it said. There is an urgent need for a government emergency plan to keep healthcare workers safe. In large parts of Great Britain, diesel and petrol are becoming scarce, and for days there have been panic buying and long lines at gas stations and in supermarkets. The background is that thousands of truck drivers are missing. Many driving tests have been postponed due to the corona pandemic, but in addition, around 20,000 drivers returned home due to Brexit, mostly to Eastern Europe. In most cases, stricter immigration rules prevent them from returning and thus being able to support the movement of goods. To get the problems under control, as I said, the British government wants to issue 10,500 work visas, but for 3 months. What should that help? Seriously. And Bojo, does he have to apologize? Well, it's not working at Labour. Former bastions are being lost, the polls are poor. The former ruling party wants to plan the restart at its party congress. However, there are no content proposals. An internal dispute and an insulting debate have overshadowed the start of the conference of the British opposition party Labour. Party Deputy Chief Angela Rayner refused on Sunday to apologise for calling the ruling Conservative Party scum. They will only ask for forgiveness if Prime Minister Boris Johnson apologises for earlier comments that were homophobic, racist and misogynistic. That's at least what Rayner told Sky News. In the past, Johnson referred to homosexual men as tank-topped bum boys. No tank tops and wrote that with marriage there's no longer any argument against a connection between 3 men and a dog. What an asshole. The politician emphasized that a comment was not aimed at the voters but rather on the members of government who provided their bodies with billions in contracts instead of children with food during the pandemic. The government had only reintroduced free school lunches for poorer children following strong public pressure. In the corona pandemic, several major donors and friends of the Conservative Party also received lucrative orders. Rayner also caused a stir within her own party. In an interview with the Times magazine, she made no secret of her ambition for the top party office. She would definitely not say no if asked, Rayner said. Her relationship with party leader Keir Starmer has long been considered strained. Starmer suffered a setback before the start of the party conference in the southern English coastal city of Brighton. Under pressure from the left wing and trade unions, he cancelled his plans to reform the intra-party electoral system. It was a humiliating retreat, commented the Sky News broadcaster. Starmer, who has been in office for a year and a half, is under a lot of pressure. Despite numerous mistakes and U-turns by the Conservative Party in corona crisis management, the former ruling party is lagging behind in surveys. In addition, the Tories were able to win several local elections in previous Labour bastions. And once again, we also have to talk about road blockage. Climate activists have once again caused traffic disruptions on a London motorway. 30 to 40 members of the organisation Insulate Britain blocked part of the M21 ring road for the sixth time within a few weeks, according to the British news agency PA. The action took place very close to the largest London airport, Heathrow. The police arrested more than 50 people involved, but when they told us there are 30 or 40, how can 50 be? Well, okay. The Conservative government, which makes climate protection a priority, is cracking down on activists of such groups there. According to the British government, a court had issued an injunction against Insulate Britain last week. Those who resist could go to jail, it said. You can issue as many orders against us as you want, plunder our savings and confiscate our property, but we are not going anywhere, a spokesman for the group told the local radio station Talk Radio on Monday. The country will go to hell if it does not stop emitting climate-damaging emissions. Insulate Britain calls for comprehensive thermal insulation of houses in Great Britain. Good cause, but wrong way. The recent sharp rise in energy prices made a solution to the problem all the more urgent, the group emphasized. Yeah, and it's true, but try it the legal way. Another topic I have here is called Little Hope. Around 6 weeks before the UN Climate Change Conference COP26 in Glasgow in Scotland, British Prime Minister Boris Johnson has little hope of the promised climate aid of $100 billion this year. The chances are 6 out of 10 that the international community will meet the originally agreed target, said Johnson on Monday night on the way to the UN General Assembly in New York. It's going to be difficult, but people need to understand that it is of vital importance to the world, said Johnson. He called on the heads of state and government to make greater efforts. Great Britain will host the World Climate Conference in Glasgow in Scotland at the beginning of November. London had recently stressed that the countries had collectively failed in terms of climate finance. As part of the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change, wealthy countries set themselves the goal of spending $100 billion annually on climate protection in poorer countries by 2021. According to a current analysis by the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, the OECD, the corresponding expenditure by industrialized countries in 2019 was only around $79.6 billion. That's 67.6 billion euros, by the way. According to calculations by the aid organization Oxfam, the industrialized countries will also miss their 100 billion promise between 2020 and 2025. Over the years, recipients would be missing between 68 and 75 billion dollars. Oxfam announced on Monday that this is the case. Action is urgently required. The climate crisis could cause economic losses that are twice as high as the corona pandemic. And Germany has to spend more money on this, said Jan Kowalczyk, climate expert at Oxfam Germany. And there's one thing I call curious laws. Actually, the United States is known for its curious laws. In Chicago, in the land of opportunity, it's forbidden to go fishing in pajamas. In Devon, it is forbidden to walk backwards after sunset. In Kirkland, the hand of the law even extends into the animal kingdom. Bees are not allowed to fly through the streets there. But a law in England and Scotland is now competing with the USA. The law, called the Control of Dogs Order 1992, stipulates that dogs must wear a collar with the name of their owner and his address. So if you simply use a harness and forget the identification tag, you have to expect hefty fines. There's talk of £5,000, but higher amounts are also possible. Anyone who breaks the law is guilty of the Animal Health Act 1981. The legislature provides for a fine that does not exceed level 5 on the standard scale. What that means? For a long time, the upper limit of the penalty fee was 5,000 British pounds. But since 2015, the penalties can also be higher. A spokeswoman for the UK Department for the Environment, Food and Agriculture told Team Dogs, media, that the fines have had no upper limit since 2015. Therefore, if convicted, the maximum sentence is up to 6 months in prison or an unlimited fine, she said. But the good news first. So far, there has been no known case in which dog owners had to pay these horrific fines. But dog owners don't get away with it completely. For example, in 2018, the owner of a Cocker Spaniel had to pay a fine of £50. The dog owner was traveling with his four-legged friend without a collar near Sapcote in eastern central England. In addition, according to the tabloid Mirror, I know, he was charged £30 because he admitted the offence. The legislator points out that the complete postcode must be noted on the identification tag in addition to the name and address. Dog owners can also provide a telephone number, but the law does not require this. In this country too, by the way, dog owners can face high penalties. In a new ordinance, the Passau municipality of Büchelberg has provided for a fine of up to €2,500 for offences when walking your dog. And I'll see you in my next video. Bis gleich.